kind of a short meeting today, we're not gonna have any guest speakers, and we're tabling the restrooms.
Because Brian, we need yeah, but
We just wanted to pay bills.
we need an executive session too. Okay, so that'll condense it. Thank you. I tried, anyway, I was gonna catch you yesterday, and I missed you. I had to come back, I had Board of Adjustments and then Lebanon Junction City Council, and when I got to Lebanon Junction, they'd done ended their meeting. It's okay, but Board of Adjustments hadn't. So, anywho, so y'all ready? We're ready. Well, he's on Zoom. He's sick. Yeah. So, well, good morning. Welcome to the Bullitt County Fiscal Court special meeting of January the 10th at 9:30 a.m. At this time, Brian, our Magistrate Bullitt, would you mind leading us in a prayer and then the pledge, please, sir?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, for your many blessings, Lord. We just pray that you continue to watch over us and guide us through all those who are out working at this time, Lord, the first responders, those taking care of the roads. We just pray your hedge of protection, that you keep them safe. Anybody that's out dealing with this, we just pray to us, whether it's coming in tonight, people that may have lost power, may lose power, that you just keep them warm, keep them safe. We just pray that you would help us here today and make good decisions, be with this county, our state, our nation. Pray all this in Jesus' name.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Brian. Okay, the approval, Sam, would you call the roll to bring the court to order, please?
Yes, sir. Barry Sanders. Present. Sean Logston.
Here.
Karen Johnson.
Here.
Brian Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
All present.
Thank you. The approval of minutes from December 17, 2024, Bullitt County Fiscal Court meeting and the special meeting from December 23rd, 2024.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes dated December 17th and 23rd of 2024.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 1st and 4th District Magistrates Sanders and Bleemel to approve the minutes from the December 17th and December 23rd Bullitt County Fiscal Court meeting of 2024. Sam, call the roll.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Sanders. Yes. Motion carried.
Thank you. The Treasurer's Transfer Report, Canan.
I make a motion, we approve the presentation and approval of all bills.
Transfer.
Oh, transfer report,
Yep.
sorry.
And I'll second that motion. I got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Bleemel, a second by the County Judge to approve the Treasurer's Transfer Report as presented. Sam, call the roll, please.
Johnson.
Yes.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Sanders. Yes. Logston.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Presentation and approval of all bills.
I make a motion that we approve all bills.
A second.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 1st District Magistrate Sanders to approve the bills as presented. Sam, call the roll, please.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Because this is a special meeting, there is no guest speakers today, but however, I'd like for ahead of our emergency management, Justin Warren to give us literally a 30,000-foot update on this past weekend. Justin? And we'll have more details at the next meeting, the statistics and the numbers of what we... Go ahead.
Morning.
Good morning.
Just a quick report on the windstorm, and this is dated from Sunday at 8 a.m. through Tuesday at 1 p.m. Lines down total was 28, structure fire-related runs 3, transformer fires 4, trees down 64, motor vehicle accidents for police only was 43, for a total run of 142. 684 calls were processed by dispatch, and then real quick. We did have warming centers set up at Bullitt East, Shepherdville Elementary, and then the Hillview Government Center. We stayed in constant contact with Salt River the entire time. They reported at one time around 2.5 thousand people in our area without power. And then, like the judge said, next presentation, we'll go into more of the detail on how the county prepares and what we do during and then the recovery after.
Okay.
And then if you need individual reports for your district, I can get those for you as well.
Okay. I do got one quick question. First of all, thank you all so much for everything you've done. Absolutely amazing. I've seen a lot of positive comments about how everybody's responded. But something's on my mind just real quick when you brought up warming centers. What role did Turnaround Resource Center play? Because I seen something on social media that said that we had absolutely no volunteers show up for pretty much any location, but I didn't see that till after. It was kind of like too late after the fact. I was just kind of curious what role they played in reaching out to volunteers, because I didn't really know that we needed volunteers, but then no volunteers showed up apparently. So my next question would be, if a state of emergency is declared in the future, if we set up warming centers, is that something that we could look at possibly paying people to show up if nobody wants to volunteer? I mean, if we can't get people, I don't know if that was a problem, I don't know, but it sounded like, according to her Facebook post, it was, you know, pretty disappointing that nobody showed up, but I didn't know that we was even looking for volunteers for that.
So I think it's the roles reversed. We had plenty of volunteers. We didn't have anyone needing assistance show up.
Okay.
We only had one show up at Shepherdsville. No one showed up at Bullitt East, and then the Hillview had quite a few show up.
Okay, so because according to her post, it was nobody wanted to volunteer, only had one person show up to volunteer.
She was shy on how many volunteers she had, but we did have plenty. We staffed it 24 hours a day. I think we had 4 people each day, and then we started reaching out to other organizations like Roll Call Foundation up in the North End, and they helped out as well.
Okay, well that's awesome, because I really kind of got sick to my stomach, like, wow, if I'd known that, you know, there was a need or something, but there was no issue. Because that was going to be my recommendation, is if nobody's wanting to volunteer, kind of like election workers, is it something we could look at maybe providing some type of incentive to get people to show up to help in these situations when there is a state of emergency? But no, that's all I got.
Yeah, we're good. And then, you know, last year when we had the same thing and we were short on volunteers, we did it. We sent it to schools.
Okay.
So it'll always be covered.
Okay, well, good to know.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. First reading, public hearing, zoning ordinance 25-01. Gerald and Judy LaFollette. Charlie?
Good morning. Planning docket 2024 Z60, Gerald and Judy LaFollette, seeking to rezone from Ag to R1, located on Ridge Road, parcel 064-000-00-006C, an unincorporated area of the county, 4.012 acres more or less. Purpose is to create 2 single-family lots. Comprehensive plan calls for low-density residential. Bullitt County Planning Commission, pursuant to provisions of KRS 100.211, held a public hearing on December 12, 2024. Based upon the testimony of the applicants and our proponents, the Planning Commission finds the map amendment is in agreement with the community's comprehensive plan and borders other R1 zoning. Because of the testimony received, the Bullitt County Planning Commission recommends the requested zoning change be approved and sends a favorable recommendation to Bullitt County Fiscal Court.
Thank you, Charlie. Tammy?
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 25-01, an ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from agricultural to R1 residential. The property in question is 4.012 acres, more or less, located at Ridge Road, Tract 3A, parcel number 064-000-00-006C, in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, that the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission in docket number 2024 Z-60, is hereby changed from agricultural to R1 residential. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force in effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a special meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 10th day of January 2025, to be given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 21st day of January 2025.
Thank you, Tammy. Anyone here to speak for zoning ordinance 25-01, Gerald and Judy LaFollette? Hearing or seeing none. Anyone here to speak against zoning ordinance 25-01, Gerald and Judy LaFollette? Hearing and seeing none. First reading public hearing for zoning ordinance 25-02, Yvonne Laring.
Planning docket 2024 Z61, Yvonne Laring, seeking to rezone from Ag to R1, located on Alpar Lane, parcel 063-000-00-009, an unincorporated area of the county. The size of the property is 9.179 acres more or less, seeking to split off 0.223 acres to attach to the neighboring property. Comprehensive plan calls for low-density residential. Planning Commission, pursuant to provisions of KRS 100.211, held a public hearing on the application on December 12, 2024. Based upon the testimony at the hearing, the Planning Commission finds the map amendment is in agreement with the community's comprehensive plan and is surrounded on three sides by R1. Because of the testimony received at the hearing, the Planning Commission recommends this requested zoning change be approved and sends a favorable recommendation to Bullitt Fiscal Court.
Thank you, Charlie. Tammy?
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 25-02. An ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from agricultural to R1 residential. Property in question is 9.179 acres more or less, located at Alpar Lane, parcel number 063-000-00-009, in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Section 1, that the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission, in docket number 2024Z-61, is hereby changed from agricultural to R1 residential. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force in effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a special meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 10th day of January 2025, to be given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 21st day of January 2025.
Thank you, Tammy. Anyone here to speak for zoning ordinance 25-02, Yvonne Laring?
I am.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Sarah Smith. I'm the daughter of Yvonne Laring. She and I are planning to build a home. I already live in that neighborhood right off of Alpar Lane, and she is 70-ish years old. She has one of the problems here in this home amount. But anyway, we are planning on moving in together and residing together on that property.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Anyone here to speak against zoning ordinance 25-02, Yvonne Laring? Hearing or seeing none. First reading public hearing for zoning ordinance 25-03, Stormy Tucker.
Planning docket 2024 Z62, Stormy Tucker, seeking to rezone from Ag to R1, located at 206 Cromwell Lane, parcel 072-000-00-055H, an unincorporated area of the county. 1.2 acres more or less, and the purpose is to split off the 1.2 acres to attach to a connecting tract. Pursuant to provisions of KRS 100.211, Planning Commission held a hearing on December 12, 2024. Based upon the testimony of the applicants and proponents, the Planning Commission finds the map amendment is in agreement with the community's comprehensive plan. Because of the testimony received, the Planning Commission recommends the requested zoning change be approved and sends a favorable recommendation to Bullitt Fiscal Court.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 25-03. An ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from agricultural to R1 residential. The property in question is 1.2 acres more or less, located at 206 Cromwell Lane, parcel number 072-000-00-055H, in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, that the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission, docket number 2024Z-62, is hereby changed from agricultural to R1 residential. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be effective and shall remain in full force in effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a special meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 10th day of January 2025, to be given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 21st day of January 2025.
Thank you, Tammy. Anyone here to speak for zoning ordinance 25-03 for Stormy Tucker? Hearing or seeing none. Anyone here to speak against zoning ordinance 25-03 Stormy Tucker? Hearing or seeing none. Charlie, first reading public hearing for zoning ordinance 25-04, text amendment.
2024 T02, a text amendment to remove the planned unit development option from the current regulations. Planning Commission held a hearing on December 12th, 2024. Based upon the testimony there, the Planning Commission finds that the proposed amendment should be approved. Because of the testimony received, the Planning Commission sends a favorable recommendation to the Bullitt County Fiscal Court.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 25-04, an ordinance relating to the text amendment 2024 T-02, deleting sections 5.900 through 5.904 of the Bullitt County Planning and Zoning Regulations, planned unit development. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said text amendment, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed text amendment is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, that text amendment 2024 T-02, deleting sections 5.900 through 5.904 of the Bullitt County Joint Planning Commission regulations in their entirety is adopted. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a special meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 10th day of January 2025, to be given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 21st day of January 2025.
Thank you, Tammy. Anyone here to speak for zoning ordinance 25-04, the text amendment relating to the, what I'm going to say, apartments? Anyone here to speak against zoning ordinance 25-04 on the text amendment for planning and zoning? Thank you. Resolution 25-01, Tammy, medical cannabis policy.
Medical Cannabis Policy, Bullitt County Employees, Resolution 2025-01. Whereas beginning January 1, 2025, KRS Chapter 218B allows medical cannabis cardholders to utilize medical cannabis, and whereas KRS 218B.040 provides an employer-employee exception to this medical cannabis cardholder allowance, and whereas Bullitt County Fiscal Court, pursuant to the powers within KRS 218B.040, hereby invokes this medical cannabis cardholder exception. Now therefore be it resolved by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Number 1, Bullitt County Fiscal Court, pursuant to the powers within KRS 218B.040, hereby prohibits the use of medical cannabis by county employees. Number 2, employees who consume medical cannabis in the workplace, work while under the influence of medical cannabis, or who, if drug tested, test positive for medical cannabis, are subject to discipline up to and including termination from employment with the county.
Okay.
And Judge, by way of explanation, this is required or we could lose federal funding because obviously at the federal level,
Right.
cannabis is not permitted.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to approve Resolution 25-01, the medical cannabis policy directly related to our employees of Bullitt County Fiscal Court.
Second.
And I have a second by 4th District Magistrate Blamewell. Sam, call the roll, please.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
I'm gonna vote yes primarily because of the federal funding in this case, but I do think it's, kind of cautionary, from discriminatory, when medical cannabis is allowed, but I'm gonna vote yes as well, but that's the primary reason due to federal funding on there.
Okay. Thank you,
Johnson?
Sean.
I have to vote yes too, even though I don't agree with that. Just we need to be cautionary and law a little bit better.
Blamel?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
This was recommended by KCOA and the County Attorneys
Right.
Association due to the funding.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Tammy.
Yeah, I just didn't want to sound like a hypocrite. We voted to allow in this county, medical cannabis, and then we turn around and say, if you work for the county, you can't consume medical cannabis if it's something that, helps so many people. But obviously, we can't continue to operate as a county without federal funding to some degree.
Right. And the influence of KCO. Number 6, Lincoln Trail Community and Economic Development Civil Engineering Services. What you have before you is we have what I'm going to say, an MS4 policy that we have to do. It's no different than the comprehensive plan. KIPTA, of which we're a big part of, doesn't provide these services. The Lincoln Trail District does. And we're seeking the opportunity to partner with them and their engineering services to do this for our county. And what that amounts to is that any type of runoff it doesn't matter where it's at, schools, parking lots, roads, we have a plan to present to the state. And that is $50,000, Charlie, is that correct? Yeah. And be happy to entertain any type of discussion on that as well.
I think is most of the counties that's involved with the Lincoln Trail, they're all part of this as well.
They're
and
all
buy into it, so to speak.
Yes, every county has to do this. I mean, we're not special on this. We just don't have the engineering services to do this. It's quite the monumental task, Sean, when you look at mapping out our entire county from our county roads to literally we have to do the state roads and stuff too. So
Is that a motion that you've got on the floor?
Yes, I
Then
have a
I'll
motion on the
second
floor.
that motion.
and we have the funding to back that up to do it with.
Well, I have a question too. So
Sure.
we're doing it with Lincoln Trail,
Yes.
but we're a member of KIPTA, does
Yes.
that?
To be brutally honest with you, we've had quite the healthy discussions with them, with both Daniel and Jared. Jared and them doesn't provide these services because they're more the city of Louisville and the counties of Clark and Floyd and them. They have those types of services available. So does Shelby. Almost literally every county does except for ours in the Lincoln Trail. In the KIPTA district. We don't. We do a lot with Lincoln Trail because they're literally our neighbors. That's Hardin, Nelson, Meade, through there.
Do we have the ability to pick our district or?
No, we don't have that ability. We fall into what I'm gonna say, the federal guidelines of where we should be. And we're part of 16 counties. 3 of them are in Indiana and the other 13 are over here.
Okay.
And that's federal dollars that come back and they're distributed not only to us, but to the state. And then the state allocates them back to us.
Okay.
And then to drill down one more step deeper, and we can talk about this at another meeting, but we're part of a urban group, ourself, Oldham, and Jefferson.
Okay.
We're really special when it comes to that, so, okay? Any other discussion? Thank you, Brian. Sean, Vera had questions too.
You answered all my questions.
Thank you. So I put a motion on the floor to do that, and did you? Who's
Second by
And
me.
Second by Second District Magistrate Logston. Sam, if you'll call the roll, please.
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson. Flamel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Proposal from Sweat Construction for additional work for the animal shelter. You have it in your packet, members of the court. This is the schematic that we've put together for what that will look like with the add-on for the, what I'm gonna say, the porch or the welcoming part of the center, and also to add additional light to it. And the lighting will not interfere with, we've worked with Tony and David for what they need to take care of their residents. The windows are not going to be in the way of any activities that they need to do in the shelter. And to help you all with that, we do have funding available for that. The porch is $53,000. The windows are an additional, I think, $17,000 or something like that.
It's a total of $70,935.
Yes. Thank you, Vera. So this is, if we want a first-class facility, what we've done, we've taken it from 2,500 square feet to 7,500. And I encourage you all to go down there and to look at it, because what we did do upstairs, we have framed it up, and they're going to have somewhere in between 3,000 and 3,500 more square feet for expansion on down the road. They can move their offices and stuff upstairs, and that will give them more space for the residents that they need to take care of. It's absolutely something that we can stand on and be proud of in this community when it's completed. And to me, this would be what I'm going to say, aesthetically, the finishing touches on it instead of it just being a big ball.
Judge, I do have one
Yes,
question.
Sure.
On the 8 windows,
Mhm.
where are these windows at? Or is this something they've added, or I thought it was having windows already?
It just had a couple of windows
Oh,
in
it
it.
did?
Yes, ma'am. And these are additional windows to give it more light
Okay. So it's just additional windows on the side?
on the sides. Yes, ma'am. And if you've noticed, we've cut the return road already. We're getting ready to cut another road just as soon as the weather breaks for the fill station as well. And but there's a lot. It's a major project for us.
As far as everything else with the project, everything's kind of stayed within the budget.
It has all stayed within budget. The second floor is literally framed up and done. They're bringing in their, what I'm going to say, infrastructure for like furnaces and all that kind of stuff. And those are going to be in the well wings. So all that space up there will be usable on the upstairs. So essentially, they're going to about 10,000 square feet.
Kind of reflecting back, I've got the estimate that Mr. Sweat Construction gave us back in April. I don't see anything on here on the heating and air. Was that included in that pricing, or is that going to be an additional cost?
No, it's included, Vera.
It is, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I must be overlooking it. But, okay.
Well, I know anytime we hate to spend more money than we anticipate going into something like this, but I mean, I do know that, as long as the money's there and we feel comfortable there, it's going to, from my understanding, when I've talked to you about, it's going to really add a lot of aesthetic to the front as well. And And like I said, the money's in the budget for that, and that we haven't seen any other additional change orders or anything, I'm okay with that, so I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any other discussion? Sam, call the roll, please.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Fleenel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. And then we're going to table the next one, item 8, the bids for the bathroom renovations at the Maryville Pool, to the next meeting. Order of allowance to the Board of Adjustments, Board of Assessments Appeals. They held their hearings the other day. We need to pay those folks who handsomely showed up and did their due diligence as members of our community. And you have that in front of you, who they are. And I'm going to put that in the form of a motion to pay them.
A second.
Got a second by First District Magistrate Sanders. Sam, call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Fleenel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And then the second to last but not least, Brian Hemming, he's a part-time paramedic right now. We want to move him to full-time paramedic effective today. And the salary remain the same at $27 an hour. And also Caden Whitaker, from a part-time EMT to a full-time EMT, the salary to start today, the 10th, and the salary remain the same at $19.89. And I'm going to put that in the form of a motion.
A second.
And I got a second by First District Magistrate Sanders. Sam, call the roll, please.
Fleenel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. And now I need a motion, or I'm going to make a motion to go into executive session for personnel.
Second.
I have a second by Third District Magistrate Johnson. Sam, if you'll call the roll, please.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Fleenel?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you all. And we will be back shortly.
No, I'll just put, I wrote down the main one, like how many calls you all had. I just put, like 28 lines down, 3 structure fires, and 142 total runs. That's probably what I'll just put. Those are the couple I got, and I was like, I'll just add those. Yep, thank you. That may. It was. I think it just fell out of the thing. I haven't used it in years, but I think it just fell out of my bag. Somebody brought it over to me today. Yeah, I got it. I mean, it was sitting on the floor when I got here, but it raised up fine. Yeah. You couldn't tell me, like, before I sat in it that it might be broke? That's rude.
building?
We put this thing out to bid. One person took it. We got on the phone call. Well, I've known Jamie forever. He was a customer of mine. He's gonna work for me. I gotta go see him. He answered my calls. Here's how much I got right now. So that's what we did. And we bought the land. Now here's the problem. We're gonna have to mow the tree. And it took so long to get the steel. We finally, in the last budget, bought the steel. So I said, "Well, let's put this on." Jamie, please do me a favor. It's $2 million.
Do you remember, Apollo?
Yeah.
I guess he's dead or
I
they're gone,
I've heard of him.
but he used to build metal buildings.
Most of those places, it probably got taken over. They're probably still around just under a business. But then, of course, now, hey, He started turning this stuff over. He's got a very, he started turning over. Here's this, give me something. She was going to show. And here's the other side. He'll have more business than me. Yeah, but I always feel that.
There's a lot of money to be paid.
Hey, listen, I'm laughing, but those kind of things run through my mind too. Let's see, what can I do here?
Do you remember there was an engineer, and he went to prison? And I wish at one point he owned that stuff between all that were frozen and everything. He developed it, built it, and I wish I could remember that. But he claimed to be an engineer. He got all kinds of technology. Well, then somebody ran him out and they got after him. And he turned out to have federal conviction for claiming to be an engineer.
Here's the thing, if you do that, especially in this climate, you are definitely, all you gotta do is feel like it. You know, that's, when I saw some guy, this great big guy, and a beard, he was playing baseball. He's talking about how he used to play baseball and play softball and this company where he got, something never felt right. And so he identified as a 6-year-old and showed me playing t-ball. It's like, it's the great, and it's like this real serious, he's running bases, slapping, knocking his lips. Oh, it's so good. Thank God for YouTube. It's kind of like the, Peyton Manning thing. I'll say, Peyton Manning, obviously. One of those NFL players. These little kids, he's teaching them how to flip them. You go after this these little girls up there.
Did you remember?
And hit me.
Well, my parents put big money, and it was pretty much kind of sort. I mean, they bought me clothes and stuff. Yeah, but if you want to do something, you got to do something. So I went out, hustled up. I delivered sale bills for you at your store, cleaned the city hall, whatever I had to do, and got transcripts. Now, my kids, and so my parents never asked me if I had money. So then when I came along, something I noticed about myself as part of why my kids don't have it. I said, hardly ever when they were 17, 18, 19, 20, they went to school. They already have enough house that I used to say, we didn't know. Yeah, that's. And so why would you go out if there wasn't the same motivation to go out? Noon, right? Noon. Right across from St. High School. Probably 16. We just got back from vacation. I'm still thinking about the check every night. Every night we're out there and I get paid. I said, why are you not picking up the bill? He just laughs. It's just, yeah. I mean, what else are you gonna do? So, I get it. Not a bad gig, though. Not a bad gig. Life is wonderful. That's right. So far, so good. Oh, and I tell you what, you wait, you ain't, and it'll be, I don't know when, but it'll be like, see, we've got 7 grandkids now, Keith, and thank God they all live within 3/4 of a mile of us. So we have them over a lot. When all of this started, Sunday, at our house last Sunday, it turned into a 24-hour party. You know, the kid, Lisa, and the grandkid, all slept down in the basement, and she's wonderful with them. I mean, Lisa's dad had this ability, and Lisa does, that when the grandkids come over, she can forget everything, and she just focuses on, they'll get on the floor and they'll play dolls with the girls, they'll play this with the boys, and so on. And Lisa's dad was always that way. And I looked some video stuff that we've had, and I've failed at that, in that we would take from time to time, we would just put a camera on in the corner of the room to video that. My kids are little, and it's like Christmas or Thanksgiving, and I'm on the damn telephone talking about business. And, you know. It's all a balancing act. But it's, like I said, I think we're, and like I said, I hate the word to use the word lucky, but I think we're lucky. You look at people. I tend to change it over to bless. Yes, 100%. And here's the thing too, though, and one of the biggest blessings that I think I have is that the Lord's given me the vision to recognize I'm blessed. I tell folks, you know, we buried my mother on my 40th birthday. Relatively speaking, might have been the worst day of my life. But that, I remember specifically that day, have a very conscious recollection that I felt like I was one of the most blessed men in the world that day. Yeah. No, that's a big part. In comparison
football player, who was it, a guy playing for Pittsburgh, he played for Indiana. He was quarterback in Indiana, and the Pittsburgh Steelers drafted him. And they put him, he was like, certain situations, running back, he played quarterback, he played wide receiver. And then on his football helmet, there was the flag. That's what now, all right, I'll take that.
Yep.
This is something coming out too. It might, somebody might want to well know.
Oh, okay.
OBCC stuff. And
Okay.
I asked him if he wanted to do that yesterday, and he declined it.
What, like you running a metal detector or something? I see. Okay.
You give me for that. And,
Yeah. Okay. So, there you go. Are you, okay? Are you, okay, are you ready? Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to come back out of executive session. Got a second by Sean, second district magistrate. Candy, call the roll. Yes.
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 And,
Mr. Bryan?
no action was taken. I'm gonna make a motion to go back into regular session.
second.
We got a second by second district magistrate Logston. Candy, call the roll.
Yes.
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 Thank you. And now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the Bullitt County Fiscal Court meeting at exactly 11 a.m. on January the 10th, 2025.
I'm gonna consider that a motion and I'll second that motion.
Okay. Candy, call the roll.
Yes.
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 Thank you all.